Welcome to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast. I'm Kinsey Ashcraft, a boutique owner, firefighter wife, and mama of 2 cowgirls, homesteading on a cattle ranch in Oklahoma.
And I'm Talia Watcott, a Western artist and illustrator, mama of 2, and wife of a mountain man, raising babies in the mountains of Utah.
Together, we share a passion for the Western lifestyle, homemaking, and Indian paintbrush flowers.
We're here to inspire and encourage you as we each create a simple but beautiful life on the prairie. Welcome to the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about things that we like to cook because we're both home cooks, but one is better than the other. But we're not going to do a whole lot of chatting at the beginning of this episode, but we're just going to kind of get right into it. So, summer is a big time of year for cooking, and we're going to share a few of our favorite things to make. Why don't you start us off, Kenzie?
Yeah, summer is actually one of my favorite. I always say I'm so ready for summer food, like in the winter and spring, just because obviously it's out of the garden, it's more fresh. And so we do a lot of summer cooking. If you follow me personally on social media, then you know that I run a page called Hayfield Meals, and it started as like a little cooking page, and since then I've grown it into a subscription, and I've just been able to connect other farm and ranch wives and plug them into the page and show them just different meal ideas to make, and the whole goal is to break bread no matter where you are. If you're in the field, if you're in the branding pen, roping pen, whatever you're doing in the summer, it's just to keep cooking and keep sharing a meal with your family. So I do a lot of cooking in the summer. My husband loves to cook too, so I should say like he does a ton of our cooking as well, but we love summer food, and we get a lot of things out of the garden, and we raise our own beef, so we always prioritize a protein, usually beef. I don't know if you can hear our cows outside, but they're being really loud, so I apologize to any listener that can hear them. But because I can hear them, they're really loud. But we always prioritize a protein. We do a lot of burgers, we do a lot of steaks in the summer. And then usually we'll do like something fresh from the garden, whether that's like zucchini. We'll do like, we even throw in like just a melody of like squash and peppers and onions together and throw it on the Blackstone with a little bit of butter, olive oil, and seasoning. We'll do like green beans from the garden. Okra is a big one. So those are some of our favorite things to cook. And then we always serve it with like a side of fresh tomatoes.
Always.
I don't know if it's like a Southern thing, but it's like, yeah, like a side of tomatoes is usually like a summer staple in like every meal that we make.
Yep.
Yeah.
My family, we used to do the same thing.
Yeah, we don't really overcomplicate dinner or make complex dishes. Like I would put more time into it in the winter. For one, I don't want to spend half of my day cooking. I want to enjoy all the time I can outside. But another reason is just like we don't need to overcomplicate it. And I just feel like summer food is it's a lot easier for us at least. So those are just some examples of what we make. My husband is like a big smoker. He like loves to smoke brisket, and just he watches like these cooking YouTube channels and like wants to do like the barbecue competitions.
Yes, okay. So oh my gosh, seriously.
It's like a next level dad flex. Like we joke all the time that I'm probably going to follow him around when he retires to all these like barbecue competitions and, chase that dream. But he watches so many videos on stuff like that. It's hilarious, but like I love it because I reap the benefit of it. But we do a lot of like the smoking and briskets and barbecue and stuff too here.
Yeah. So I swear our husbands are meant to be like best friends.
Yeah, stepbrother
They
style.
have so much in common. It's like so freaky. Like it's so weird because like you and I have so much in common and they have so much in common. It's like wild.
Hmm.
Um but Cody does the same thing. Like he loves to smoke and he's gotten really good at it. So he will like volunteer to do stuff for the barbecues and stuff and he will get on YouTube and watch like the Franklin barbecue videos
Yes.
and like learn all of the techniques and like how to prepare everything and I'm like all about it
Yeah.
cuz
It's an art.
that is an area that I am just not I'm not gonna touch the smoker and I'm not gonna touch the grill. Like the only thing I'll do with the grill is I'll do like grilled chicken, but everything else is like his area.
Yeah, it's like an art
So
form.
let him do that. Definitely. Definitely. So when you are creating your like meals for Hayfield meals and the ones that obviously like you're creating them to make them easy to take out to people working, right? So like what is kind of your thought process or like going through your mind when you're creating those?
So I've done it for over a year now, and some of the meals are more complex. Um, and there's so many ideas and so many that you can share. But so if they're more of like a complex dish or something, then I always try to give a suggestion like, okay, I need to get better at doing this too about sharing some of these things, but like this is the way that I like to transport it. Like last week with subscribers, I shared like this tote that makes it easy to take it out into the field, but um yeah, I don't guess I really focus that much on making it easy per se. Not every meal, not every week, but there are some like really simple ones like um like for example, repurposing a BLT classic sandwich into like a pasta salad dish. Like there's so many like classic recipes that you can turn into making it an easier it's a it's a different food, but it's an easier way to eat it, I guess you should say, and still have that similar flavor. So those are just some examples of
Right.
what I try to do with Hayfield meals, change it up a little bit, and just give a fresh take on different recipes.
I am obsessed with your Hayfield meals. Like I feel like I have become a better cook after using your recipes.
Oh, thanks.
Like there's been a few marinades that I've done. I'm like, where have I been? Like had I known that that would make that chicken that much better, I should have been doing that for like years. I'm like 9 years into this whole marriage game and I'm like didn't really utilize marinating chicken.
Well, like we're really bad about
That's like
like we just use the same stuff because that's just what we do, and it's just easy because that's what we do all the time. But it's nice to try something different and get a different flavor, or just like making your own mayonnaise or making your own ketchup. Like I think we
right.
overcomplicate a lot of things, and it's really not that hard. It's just trying to branch out and try something new. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, no harm. Go back to your old way. So
All right. Well, I really like just like it helps stimulate ideas, you know? Um because like obviously it's like you may not be able to utilize every single recipe that week, but you're like, "Oh, I can switch that in for
yeah, for
this
sure.
one," or like I don't have this ingredient, but I can like swap that and you can play around with them and they always turn out so good. Like every single one I've tried.
Well, and it takes a while to build your pantry, like with different spices and like things that don't necessarily go bad quickly. It is a process and it is an investment,
Yeah.
but I feel like once you get those things, then it's pretty easy to cook and just making sure that you have those things in your back pocket when you need them. But yeah, I try not to overcomplicate it, but sometimes you gotta change it up a little bit. We like flavor in our house, so I really like to for things to taste really good.
It's really important, and I think sometimes it gets overlooked because, you know, we are always trying to lean toward a healthier style of eating. And especially like me and Cody, um, me not as much recently, but Cody is like extremely strict with how he eats. And I used to be, before I had Briggs, we tracked macros like very religiously. And when you are doing that, it's so easy to just like get to where you're like, well, I guess we're just gonna do some chicken
Chicken
again
and
or
broccoli.
some steak and rice again.
Yeah.
And it gets very monotonous, but it's nice, like, because I can take your hayfield meals and I can look at the recipe and I can usually tweak it to fit our macros,
Yeah.
or Cody's macros, because he even needs different macros than I do. So it's nice because they're usually recipes that it's easy to, make adjustments if you need to.
Yeah.
But you can still lean toward a healthier style of eating, but still have flavor, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I try to share recipes that are easily modifiable, and I do try to cook with like not a whole lot of seed oils or really bad ingredients. There are some where if you want to splurge on like a dessert or a certain type of meal, every once in a while is okay, but I do try to, for the most part, incorporate all fresh things or an olive oil or avocado oil instead of using like the terrible vegetable oil. So I do try to change those things out. I do have a lot of subscribers that are like gluten intolerant or have a dairy allergy. And so I've had a few of those reach out to me and say, hey, like, I do have this allergy, but I was able to switch this out. If you do have anyone that has this problem, like, let them know this is what I did, because some of those things I just don't think about because we don't have that in our house.
Right.
But like,
Right.
I personally
You
have.
wouldn't know.
Right, right. But I've counted macros too. So I haven't lately, but I always try to keep that in mind as well. Is this going to be semi easy to track? Or, I know a lot of people that's not super important to, especially a lot of farmers, men that are farmers, but a lot of farm wives, like I
Right.
have had questions about that. Like a lot of wives have reached out and say, "Hey, like, do you have the macros on this?" And so I need to get better about, sharing a few recipes and saying, "Hey, like if you do it to a T like this is what the macros are." So,
Right. And I mean, if you put in like MyFitnessPal, if you put in the ingredients, you can get a good like idea of what the servings, like the macros will be
yeah,
on each serving. So,
get a food scale.
um, yes, it'll be your best friend. Yeah. So I guess some of the things that we like to make very similar to what you guys do. Like we said, Cody loves to grill and smoke, and so he, like, his favorite thing to do on the grill is we like to do tomahawk steaks. And we like get the biggest ones that we can get. And it's like so many grams of protein. It's like ridiculous and so much fat, but it is like the most delicious steak I can even imagine. I mean, honestly, we went and ate at this really fancy steakhouse not that long ago, and Cody got a tomahawk, and it was like nothing compared to like what he makes on our grill.
He was judging it, wasn't he?
Yeah, like everywhere we go. And like,
Yeah, like we don't eat a steak anywhere anymore because it will be so unworthy. So, and I'm
yeah,
like, I'm not paying money for this for you to gripe about it. Like, no. So, which we don't eat out. We don't eat out a lot anyway. But I'm just like, please don't get anything that you would make on a grill or smoker because it's not going to be good enough.
no, and it's just a disappointment, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna go to this like
Yes. Yes.
steakhouse, and no joke, like we went to a steakhouse. I don't even know. This was a different time, but it was like sometime early this year, and or maybe it was even last year. Anyway, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to badmouth people, but it's a very popular steakhouse. And we got ribeyes, and it was seriously like they sliced the ribeyes like in half. Like they were, it looked like fajita meat. It was like so thin. I was like, what is this? Like, this is not a steak. Like, you're obviously cutting corners on costs here. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, Cody loves steak. We just are big steak people. And if we can get it from a local source, because we don't have our own beef at the moment, we always try to get it locally. And we usually buy, like a half a beef at minimum, or a whole beef if we can. But, if we're wanting just steaks, we might go to get those special. But another thing that, we have a city celebration that happens every June. And so, like, one of our staples for like the whole month of June, and this is not like an actual meal, it's like a treat, but it's strawberries and cream. And so, because we have strawberry days, and so it's like a huge thing in our like city. And so the local grocery stores all sell it, and it's just like sliced up strawberries, and then it's vanilla ice cream mix, like in a gallon. So you're like, seriously, you just pour it, like you put the strawberries in a cup, and then you pour like the vanilla ice cream mix on it. So you're just basically eating like melted vanilla ice cream with strawberries. And it
Oh,
is
my
like
word.
the most simple thing ever, but it's like so good. Like you like crave it when it's that time of year. So, we get that like at the rodeo and stuff, but then we'll also get the stuff to make it at home. So we like to do that. And then, like obviously things from the garden, like tomatoes, are a major staple. I love them. I look forward to tomato season. I like call it tomato season because it's like my favorite. And I always like to do like fresh tomatoes, and then I'll put them in my scrambled eggs in the morning. And sometimes if I'm feeling
Yes, yeah.
if I'm feeling spry, I'll put some cheese on it. And it is so good. Like, Cody thinks it is the most disgusting thing when I make it, but I love it. It's so good. And then we always do like a 4th of July barbecue. And like we do like a special breakfast on the 4th of July. And so like we've done it for several years, and we always make, like in the past few years, we've made pancake puppies. So like,
Aw.
like Denny's. I think it was Denny's that would do like the
Yes.
different flavors of pancake puppies. And I seriously was like obsessed with those for a while. And like me and Cody, we would go to Denny's, when we were dating, and I'd get like pancake puppies with frosting. And so for this 4th of July breakfast, we always do like our own version of pancake puppies. They're not quite the same, but they're still pretty dang good. Totally, completely unhealthy and horrible for you.
Hey,
But
every
they're
once in
just
a
kind of like
while, that's good. It's good for the soul.
yeah, they're like an annual treat. But, and then of course, like, I don't know. You're talking about like all the healthy stuff, and I'm talking about all the treats. That's probably like a sign.
I got to the unhealthy stuff yet. I'll get there.
But like, so we always get like twist cones, like chocolate vanilla twist. I don't know why,
Like
but
the
that's
dip.
just like our thing.
Oh, just the twist, not the dipped. Because like here in the South,
Not the
like,
dipped.
do y'all have Dairy Queen up there? Is that a thing up there, or is it just like a
Yeah, we
Southern
do.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's cool.
No, we have Dairy Queen.
But yeah, the dipped cone is like one of the things we love.
Yeah,
That
that's
little, like,
like a childhood memory.
yeah, like crunchy chocolate outside with the
Yeah.
vanilla ice cream on the inside. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a grocery store that's like really close to our house, and they do like chocolate and vanilla twist cones, and they make them like all different sizes. So they have like little baby ones like for little kids, and then they go up to like freaking a foot tall, like if you want to go crazy. But they're so good. Like I don't know what the ice cream is like. I don't know. It's so good. It's just chocolate and vanilla twist. Very simple, and it's just in like a little sugar cone. Nothing fancy, but it is good. It's like a summertime thing. Um, and then of course, like I love like just corn on the cob and like anything with corn, like grilled corn, smoked corn, and I also make this like creamed corn, and it's from scratch. It's from a cookbook that I have. It's like a cowboy cookbook, and so it has like bell peppers and onions in it, and it is so amazing. Like, it's so good. I could eat it every day. But yeah, if you have a lot of corn, that's a really good recipe for utilizing corn. And then one of the other things that is like summer in my head is Cody's grandma always makes rhubarb slush. And
Hmm.
um so she grows rhubarb, and I don't know how she makes it. I need to get the recipe from her, but it's basically just like frozen rhubarb, like puree. I don't know how she makes it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you, but you just like scoop it like almost like a sherbet, and like scoop it
Hmm.
and put it in a cup, and then you pour like Sprite on top of it, and so
Oh,
then it just makes
interesting.
rhubarb slush. My grandma used to make one that was like banana slush, and so it was
Hmm.
like banana puree that was frozen, and then you did the same thing. But the rhubarb slush is like so good. So those are all of my things.
Well, for us, homemade ice cream is like a big deal around these parts. My mom's like the best homemade ice cream maker in all the land. She does of course vanilla. My oldest daughter Paisley, she has had like a milk issue since she was a baby, which hopefully when we get a milk cow in the spring, we're going to try her on raw milk and see if that is fine, because I've heard a lot of testimonies about kids having a milk allergy and then they get on raw milk and it's fine. So anyways, my mom makes
Mm-hmm.
her a
Yeah.
special vanilla ice cream with like lactate milk. And it's great too. But she does the vanilla, she makes um this cherry pecan that's really really good. And then like at some of our family get-togethers or barbecues or Father's Day dinners, she'll make homemade ice cream, and then we'll have like a bar of like toppings and fresh fruit you can put on it. She makes really good peach ice cream. That's probably my favorite. But homemade ice cream is like a really big deal. Everyone requests it at every get together. Like, I think sometimes we plan a get together for an excuse to have homemade ice cream. And we
That's
we
awesome.
also like she'll make extra and we'll freeze it and have it for later. So that's another thing that we freeze and put up. Um, and then Zach's birthday is the end of June. So last year I started a tradition for him because he absolutely loves um crawfish and shrimp. So we do a big boil, and we'll do a shrimp boil, crawfish boil for him for his birthday. And he likes like surf and turf. So we'll do some steak and stuff with it too. So that's a big like summer thing that we've started. And 4th of July varies because it just depends on if he's on shift or not. But this year we grilled out and um, watched fireworks afterward. But we do lots of corn on the cob, sweet corn. We do a ton of watermelon. My kids run through the watermelons. It's another reason why I've like tried to learn how to really grow them, because they're like
Right?
$10 a pop down here. And that's from
Seriously.
like the local people. So I'm like, I'm going to grow us some melons, and if I have a 10 next year, I'm going to sell them. Because they're making some dollars down here. Watermelon.
Plus, I think watermelon is another one of those things that it tastes way better when you get it fresh, like when it's like on the vine. You know what I mean?
But there's no comparison between a homegrown watermelon and a grocery store watermelon.
Yeah.
It's just totally different. That and cantaloupe is another
Oh,
summer food
yes.
that
Yes.
that we all love. Like my kids love cantaloupe. So,
Yeah. And it is completely different than a store bought.
yeah. And I feel like watermelon is just like a core memory for everybody. It's like one of those like I don't know, foods that it's almost like a comfort food,
Yeah.
but it's good for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's always a favorite.
yeah, we do a lot of I mean, of course, in the summer we do a lot of hayfield meals, so we're doing a lot of those, but then we do have lots of like extra little get-togethers and special things that we make. My husband loves banana pudding, and I actually have that recipe on my blog. If anyone wants to check it out, I'll put it in the show notes. But I've had a lot of people try it. His mom actually gave me the recipe, and I've tweaked it a little bit. But a lot of people have tried that and have wrote me back and said that they absolutely loved it. It was a hit. So, banana pudding is a big deal. I try to make it for his birthday every year.
Yeah.
So we do that, and yeah, I don't know. I love summer food. I think it's good. I feel too it's lighter. I don't know. Could just be winter blues, but I feel like the winter food's a lot heavier.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easier to throw something together in the summer, and meals are not as stressful, I feel like, because it's just like, oh, well, I guess I can just go pick some stuff, you know? So,
We're big snackers too, so like I love the charcuterie boards, boxes, snackle boxes, whatever you want to call them.
mm-hmm.
But a lot of the times we'll just like cut up some protein, throw some cheese in there, some fruit, maybe like some carrots and some dip or something, and like that's a lunch. And it's like one of our favorite things.
Yeah.
So you don't have to complicate it too much. But yeah, we love those.
The banana pudding, I have made that one for like, I don't know, probably, I think the first time I made it was like right after Briggs was born. I made it for like a family event.
My
Your
banana
banana
pudding.
pudding.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever
I did
told you
not know
that, but
this.
my husband loves it and he like requests it all the time, and my kids love
Oh,
it. And
good.
then like I've made it for like tons of barbecues ever since because I love it. Cody's like, can you just make a bowl that's separate just for me?
That's what I do for Zach.
Because he's like,
Well, and Zach likes extra
yeah,
cookies. Yeah, because, so I have to make his with extra
yeah,
cookies. He's like, light on the bananas, extra cookies. I'm like, okay, so you want the cream and the cookies.
yeah. And Cody's like opposite.
But
He's
yeah.
like, he loves bananas. So he's like, good with the cookies, but like, make sure there's lots of bananas.
Well, Zach likes bananas, but they make his throat itch. Like, he's mildly allergic to it, but he just suffers. He's like,
Oh,
I don't care.
see, and
I'm like, why do you eat this?
yeah, like Cody, so he can't do watermelon because it makes his mouth itch.
Oh, that's so
I
sad.
know, I feel so bad for him.
That's
He's like,
sad.
and he always tells me, he's like, I really wish I could eat that. Like, it looks really good, but it just makes his mouth itch too much. So,
Yeah,
so funny.
that's terrible. Here at the Paintbrush Prairie, one of our favorite ways to preserve food is through canning. We talk a lot about it here on the podcast, and we are so excited to share a company with you that we absolutely love and are excited to partner with as homesteaders and homemakers. 4 Jars USA is a family-owned canning lid company. Their canning lids are crafted with utmost care using high-quality metal that resists bending, ensures durability and longevity. To combat the common issue of rusting, they have incorporated stainless steel into their lid composition. Compared to conventional lids with a thickness of 0.10 to 0.12 millimeters, their lids boast a superior metal thickness of 0.18 millimeters. They personally subject their lids to rigorous testing, ensuring their exceptional performance under pressure and during water baths. They stand behind the reliability and strength of all of their lids. Additionally, 4Jar's lids feature high-quality food-grade silicone that effectively prevents leakage, allowing you to confidently preserve your favorite homemade dishes. With their lids, you can savor the authentic taste of your beloved foods for extended periods. We are proud to support and partner alongside 4Jars USA as an affiliate for their canning lid company. You can use our code PAINT10 for 10% off any order at 4jars.shop.
So, we kind of talked a little bit about like how we do barbecues and stuff. What are some of your like tips or some insight that you have to like being a good barbecue host or, you know, even a good barbecue guest and just things like that?
My main thing is like bring something, or if you're hosting like what you're going to serve, bring something that you're a master at, like that you're almost known for, and do that because it makes it less stressful. Everyone is going to love it, and it's not like, stress on your plate. But I don't know. I know like down here, pasta salads are like a big deal. We love pasta salad.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I'll bring something like a side. I never put the stress of like a main dish on myself. um, but I'll either bring like a side that I'm really good at, or like I'm a pretty good, I feel like I'm a decent cook, but I feel like I'm a really good baker. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll usually do like, I might bring both. I'll do like a side and like a really good dessert that everybody likes, like peach cobbler, obviously, like cobbler's summer dessert dish or a dump dish. Um, but yeah, I usually bring banana pudding just because it's easy and everybody loves it.
It's so easy.
Yeah, and it feeds a lot. You can make a giant bowl of it and take it, and
Oh
everybody
yeah.
loves it. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I totally agree with that. I feel like it kind of like, I don't know how you feel about this, but like if you're the host, it's kind of like your deal to like do the main thing,
mhm.
like the
The
meat
meat, the
or I
protein
mean,
part.
yeah, like not necessarily every time, but like you at least need to make sure like whoever is bringing it was like it's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, and that's really stressful for a guest to try to bring, like, to make sure it's warm and it's cooked enough, and it kind of has to be at wherever it's going to be at, unless you're
Right, right.
having it catered, but we can't really afford to do that. So,
Right. And I feel like whether you have been asked to bring, because like a lot of times we'll do like potluck dinners where, we kind of assign people different things, or it's just like, oh yeah, bring whatever you want, but bring something. Like everyone kind of is on the same page. But there have been some where it's like, oh no, like we got it, like you're fine. Like in my view, I feel like you should still bring something just to be
yeah,
nice.
don't come empty-handed.
Like just kind of to show your appreciation to like your host.
My family's really good about, like, we'll have like a group chat, and then everyone will just like divide and conquer
Yeah.
and let everybody know what they're bringing. And so everyone knows, like, even down to like the paper plates and napkins and stuff.
Well,
Usually someone will bring that, so that's not on the hostess
right. And that is something that gets forgotten a lot. Like, oh, who's going to supply the, utensils? And it's just something that
or
I
the
think,
ice.
right, right. Ice and even sometimes drinks, like they're like an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a good idea to like hammer that stuff out. And if you're not sure, like bring some at least so that, you can offer to have some, because you're going to be using them. So if you're not sure who's bringing them, like just bring some extra. So,
Speaking of drinks, I have to share this recipe. I know, like, I think on our first episode, I talked about my early vlogging days, and I shared a recipe. It's still on my blog, and I need to probably like take better pictures, and it has my old blog name and stuff on it, but it's on the blog. But it is my mom's iced chest tea recipe. You can also find it on Pinterest, but I'll share it in the show notes.
Oh, good idea.
But I'm going to tell you, like, it might put you in a diabetic coma. I'm not sure, so don't hold me responsible, but I will say it is requested at like every family gathering. It's literally an ice chest full of tea.
Really?
But it's like it feeds or not feeds. It serves a lot of people. And so it's not like, I mean, it takes a lot to make however much you need, but it's something that would be super easy to bring, and also that you didn't have to, like, it'll provide for a lot of people. Anyways, ice chest tea, it is so good, and it's different. So it's like instant tea. She uses like the Sonic or like the Pebble ice in it. Like, she's specific. You have to use that kind of ice in it.
Right.
And then it's got like a lot of sugar. I'm not going to mention it here. You can see it on the recipe and pass out when you see it. But it's got like sliced lemons and oranges, and it's got frozen lemonade.
Wow.
It's really good. I promise. Like, it's one of those things, like, you'll survive. You can splurge on it once a summer or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I'll share it in the show notes, and it's her recipe, so you gotta credit my mama. But it's really good. She's made it since I was a kid, and it's so fun because you just like roll up with an ice chest and like open it up and throw a ladle in it, and people will just fill their cups up, and it's so good. So
That sounds,
yeah, you'll have to try it.
that sounds amazing. I will have to try that one. I think we could definitely make that work for a treat. I don't know if this is like a big thing for you guys, but like, do you guys do s'mores? Because my kids love s'mores, and I love s'mores.
That's like Paisley's thing. Like, we call her, like, she's the s'more queen, and that's like her job. She's in charge of. And yeah, anytime we go camping, like any little birthday party, like, they just love to do s'mores, and it's fun. Like, we've bought like the little sticks that extend,
Oh, yeah.
that are really
Yeah.
cool, almost like a telescope.
Yep.
We bought like the extra special square
Oh, yeah.
marshmallows, and we've done like the Reese's peanut butter cups. I mean, we're really we really like our s'mores over here. But yeah, I want to mention this too, because one of my meal plan subscribers, and she's actually a shopper at my store. Her name is Sue. She's like the sweetest lady. She messaged me one day and she was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of foil pack s'mores?" Because she was giving me ideas for hayfield meals, and I was like, "No, what are those?" And she was like, "Okay, so throw all your s'more stuff together, roll it in foil, and put it on the dash of the pickup,
Oh.
and let it sit in the sun for a while, and then open it up, and you've got a
Ah,
s'more." And I'm like, "It's genius,
that's a
Sue.
great
Like, I need to
idea.
share that
Oh my
on
gosh.
on our hayfield meals idea." But I'm like, that would be perfect for like during the day camping, like,
Oh, yeah. I just
for
figured out what
kids.
I'm doing for my kids this next time we go camping, because it's
Yeah.
so hot up there. It would take like 30 minutes. It
Yeah,
would
it's
be
like
like melted.
it's like frying an egg outside here on a rock. Like,
Yeah.
just take a minute. Just be a minute.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I had never heard of dashboard foil pack s'mores, but it's a thing.
Yeah, you would definitely need to add that one to your list.
Yes.
Do you guys do like the traditional Hershey's chocolate?
Yeah, we don't skimp on s'mores. Of course we do.
We actually I've tried a couple of like the more like luxury brands of chocolate, and it actually does make it better. But it's a different flavor than the traditional
Yeah.
like waxy chocolate.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have a s'more, you might as well just do it right.
Have you tried
Wax
like
and
the
all.
marshmallows? Have you tried the marshmallows that have like the chocolate inside of them?
Oh no, I haven't gotten that fancy yet.
Yeah, me either.
Oh,
I've seen
okay.
them and I'm like, nah, that's like too far for me.
Yeah.
We just go, regular old marshmallows. And maybe, like they did like the big ones, like the really, really big ones at one point. And it was like you
Hmm.
would roast them and they would just like turn into giant softballs. And you're like, I
Like
can't even fit this on like a graham cracker.
looks like a Ghostbuster on your one of those the Ghostbusters on your cracker.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I like the really thin ones. I like the little thin squares. And I will say I will spend extra on the square marshmallows. I just feel like it makes life a little bit easier. But
Yeah, we did try those recently and they were pretty nice. So, we talked about all of the really good things that are like super unhealthy
see, I told
to
you I'd get
eat.
to the unhealthy stuff. Save the best for last.
So, what are some ways that we can keep our summer? I mean, obviously, this is like the tail end of summer, but going into fall, what are some ways that we can continue to eat in a healthy way while still enjoying ourselves in the warmer season? And then also, like, keeping things from getting out of hand financially.
Well, for us, like I said, we are never short on protein because we have our own. So that helps us a lot financially. And then of course the garden. I mean, I know it's a lot of work, but I told my husband, I'm like, if we added up all the produce that we've gotten from the garden and what we would pay for at a grocery store, it really does like add up to it would be a lot. So I feel like that helps. And as far as like trying to eat healthier but still enjoy like summer treats and things, um, we've done a lot of like homemade fruit smoothies. Um, we've made like homemade popsicles out of fruit, which are still really good. I don't know if I saw these on Pinterest, but those fruit sparkler wands, just something fun for the kids. But like you just get those little kebab sticks and do fruit all the way down, and at the end you get a star cookie cutter and do your pineapple out of it. Like the kids love those, and there's just different ways to, make food still fun and taste good and be healthy, but still feel like it's a treat. I know this is like really extra too, but you can do this a lot with watermelon. I saw someone on Instagram the other day, but they had taken their watermelon and gotten like the letter cookie cutters and like cut their kid's name out on
Oh,
it.
that's so cute.
Like we have some really cute Western cookie cutters that are like mini size. So I thought about
uh,
doing that for the girls this week. Just obviously tastes the same, but they would think it was fun.
right.
They think it's fun and
Yeah, that's cute.
different. So there's lots of ways to make it fun and still affordable. And um I know the girls have really enjoyed like the smoothies and the popsicles and even like freezing the homemade ice cream to have for later. So
Hmm.
what do y'all do?
Well, obviously, like utilizing the things that we grow, uh, that helps a lot because, you know, you're always looking for like snack things and a carb source for your meal. So it's nice to just have that right there in the garden. Um, so that helps. And it's also nice to be able to have a few things to lighten the load from what you have to buy um, at the grocery store or the farm stand or wherever. It's nice to have it just right in your own backyard because that eases the pain of the grocery store
Yeah.
cost.
I do feel like our budget is a lot less in the summer than it is, fall and winter. But that's where canning and preserving comes in. That's where you need to try to do some of that to help lighten your load in the winter too.
It's true. And I mean, it does pay off. Like, if you are able to have enough to put up, like, don't waste it. Like,
Mhm.
put it up so that in the winter you can grab for things from your own shelf. And, if finances do get tight at times, then it's like not like as stressful. Like, you have to go buy a bunch of stuff at the store because you have stuff that you can pull from.
Mhm.
I used to have this like thing where I wanted to like go and eat out all the time in the summer. Like it was just like something fun to do. Like Cody and I used to eat out a lot when we were dating, but like it got to a point where it was like I didn't know what to do with myself unless we like did that, and it was such a bad habit to get into. And obviously like when you have kids, it's like kind of a slap in the face because I remember when Cheyenne was born, you know, we used to just like pick up and go wherever at like 8 o'clock at night and go get dinner. And like I remember having Cheyenne as like a newborn, and I'm like, oh, I like have to stay and put her to bed. Like we can't just like up and go, you know, get whatever we want. It was just like, oh, well, guess we have to change a few things. So having kids kind of naturally does it, but there are still times during the summer, especially where it's like I just like don't feel like cooking and I would rather go and get something because I don't feel like it, or you get, you know, you get done at the pool and you're tired or whatever and you're like, ah, cheeseburger sounds really good right now. I just want to go to this place and get one. But it's like so not worth it. And it's so unhealthy and it's so bad for your finances. Like we can't even, you know, we don't have room for that in our budget to just like willy-nilly go and get stuff that we feel like. So it really is, it is having discipline to just say no to those things and be creative with what you do already have. And it's kind of like we talked about, like your hayfield meals. It's like it doesn't take that much to get inspired to create some really, really good meals that are healthy and cheap.
Yeah, if you're in a rut, just change it up a little bit.
Exactly. And I mean, obviously you can go on Pinterest and just like scan, but you just it's like you don't know what you're getting to just like pick
Yeah.
it off of Pinterest. It could be terrible. And it could be great. But I do love like your hayfield meals because it's like curated. It's all everything's good because it comes from the same person, and it's like you can trust that the recipes are going to be good. Um, but it really it's nice for like sparking your creativity when it comes to making meals. And if you are going to make the choice to eat out, like if you can make it work financially, make it like a special treat and just, you know, whether it's like someone's birthday. I mean, when I was growing up, that was what it was like. We didn't go out to eat unless it was like someone's birthday or it was, you know, we would every once in a while, like during the summer, if there was like a big baseball game, and the my, you know, we won or something, or my brothers won, then we might go get like a cheeseburger and a shake, and it was like a really big treat for us because we didn't do it very often. So it's kind of one of those things. Just be disciplined, and you know, it's easier for some. Like obviously, I live more in town, so it's like all the stuff is too close. You know, it's too easy, and it's like too easy to just be like, you know, I want to be lazy today. But for other people, it might be like quite a drive to go anywhere, and I wish that was the case for me because it would be a lot easier to not um, want to go out to eat and things like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll stay on the meal plan too because I have had some people say, well, it's hard for me to stick to. Like, my meal plan was never intended for you to cook every meal on that day and stick to it. I wanted people to have some inspiration and like a lot of my ladies have just made a binder, which I have that on my profile as well on how to do it. But they almost have made like their own cookbook out of my recipes and will
Mm,
just
yeah.
reference that. And if you want to stick to that week, if that helps you and you can easily plug that list into your grocery app or whatever, then I have women that do that too. But the whole point was just to help build your recipe arsenal and have lots of ideas and inspiration on hand that you could literally pull the recipe out and go and make it. But, and this is probably surprising, but I used to hate to cook. I hated it so much, and it was early in our marriage because I felt like I wasn't that good at it.
Mhm.
And like I grew up like I was taught how to cook, but my main thing was like I hated to make something and it turn out bad. Like I'm kind of a perfectionist at that in lots of areas of my life, but that was one of the things that hindered me from cooking is because it could turn out bad. Well, you're
Mhm.
going to make some things that are not great, and that's just how it is, but you'll get better. And the more I cook, the more I love it. And like we were talking, now we'll go to restaurants and we're like, this is terrible. Like, and I'm not bashing any restaurants. There are some great ones, but like, so a lot of the time, I feel like anything we make at home tastes 1,000 times better than what we eat out. That's just what we were used to. And so I just encourage you all to just learn more in the kitchen, get comfortable with it, and just keep trying new things. And you'll take recipes, even if there's some that I have, and tweak them and make them your own and love them. You just it's like anything, it's practice. You have to keep on. I not everyone just was automatically a fantastic cook. Like you have to start somewhere. So I wish I would have had someone early in my marriage and I mean, I wasn't like a homemaker then, but like early on in a homemaker journey to encourage me in that way because I just felt like, well, it's just something that you're born with or it's a gift. Like anybody can cook. You can do it. It's just something that you learn, like learning to tie your shoes or,
Yeah.
learning to play an instrument. Cooking is like an art and it's something that you have to learn to get good at and try and be okay with failing at too.
Exactly. I mean, failure is really how you learn as a cook because if you don't fail, you just I mean, you can't really grow. Like, I can't even tell you some of the disastrous meals that I made when we were first married because I learned how to bake and I was like fairly good at baking, but like for some reason when it came to like cooking dinner and like I was always good at breakfast foods, but like cooking
Mhm.
dinner, I think I hated it pretty much up until I don't know, a couple years ago where I really felt like okay, like I'm starting to get this thing down. And,
Mhm.
that was probably 6 or 7 years in. And it's all just trial and error, like how to not overcook chicken, like, and dry it out,
Yeah.
and how to
Yeah.
not overcook steaks, and like, um, you know, just all of the little things that you have to learn, like, oh, well, that was too far. I guess next time I won't do it that far. Or like, you know, you bake a cake and it is like not setting up or it won't come out of the pan or just all the little things that go wrong, but you always learn and next time you make it better. And so
Well, and you could have made that cake the same way 1,000 times, and sometimes it just doesn't turn out, and you
oh
don't know
yeah,
why.
yep,
I
and
mean,
that
it's
happens.
crazy, but you're gonna serve your husband some bad food sometimes. It's okay. He'll live. And my husband is so sweet. He has ate some things, and I'm like, "You're a precious man," because I know that was terrible. But
Yep.
we like, my mom, like, laughs at him because she's like, "He's a garbage disposal, like, it doesn't matter, he'll eat it and make you feel great about it," but it is okay, like you said, you can't grow if you don't fail, and yeah, you just gotta keep on, keep trying, try new things, it's not as intimidating as it looks. I mean, what's been hard too is doing some recipes, like typing them out for Hayfield meals because a lot of the things I make too, I don't have a recipe. I just make it.
Mm,
And there most people out there on my subscription, like, or I would not most of them, but a lot of them, they're like, I can't cook without like a recipe. Like if I do a reel or something and I'm just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, they're like, no, I need to know, like, is it a fourth of a teaspoon? Like, what is it? I'm like, whatever tastes right. Like, taste it. Do
right.
you want more flavor? Do you want less flavor? Like, my palate's different than yours. Just taste it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to mess it up. It's okay. So, that's also like something that you're going to learn over time and have that intuition of like, okay, this could use a little bit more, or, you know, when you start learning to cook without a recipe too, I feel like that's such a confidence boost as well.
Yeah.
So,
Totally. I love that so much because, and that's the other thing is like I finally started to feel like I was coming into my own as a cook, and now it's like I can eyeball. I don't have to use measuring spoons. Like I use them religiously, for so long, and then I realize I'm like I know what a teaspoon looks like, like
Mhm.
it's like gaining that confidence that you're not going to totally horribly mess something up, if it's not
Yeah.
exactly precise. And then it's like starting with things that are simple to like tweak to your tastes, like soups and stews or like
Oh,
gravy.
yeah.
Like you don't measure stuff when you're making gravy. Like you just taste it until it tastes right, you know?
You just make it. You just make it. Yeah, like
Exactly.
my nana, I don't know if I've ever seen my nana use a recipe, like, or use a measuring. I mean, baking is different because baking is kind of like chemistry. It's, you kind of have to be pretty on point on some things depending on what you're making.
Right.
But as far as like cooking a meal, like she just did it. Like I don't ever remember her using anything as far as like a recipe or measuring cups or spoons or anything like that. So it is something that you do come into your own eventually, and I love that.
Yes, indeed. Well, we kind of got off on a rabbit trail, but it was good.
Yeah.
I think we're going to just wrap it up right there. And is there anything else you wanted to share about summertime cooking?
I don't think so. I will share these recipes in the show notes and my link to Hayfield Meals if you would like to try the meal plan subscription and get some inspiration of your own. I have a monthly option or a yearly option, and you can try it and see if you like it, see if it helps you at all. I'll also try to share on my Hayfield Meals page some recipes, but I will link all of that for you in the show notes.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us, you guys, and we will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you don't mind, would you please leave us a rating and review?
This will help more ladies find us, and it will help us make the show even better. If you know a fellow Western homemaker who would enjoy the podcast, will you please share it with them?
If you'd like to support the podcast, you can become a patron at patreon.com/paintbrushprairie. You can follow us on Instagram at paintbrushprairie.
You can find me, Kinsey, on Instagram at the.farmgirl and my blog, farmgirlblogs.com, to see what I'm up to on the ranch, Western home inspiration, or subscribe to my meal plan subscription at farmgirlblogs.com/hayfield-meals. You can also shop for unique Western goods at my rural boutique and general store, farmgirlboutique.com.
You can follow me, Talia, on Instagram at The Pinion Range or my Western art page at Wapiti Sage Design. You can also purchase my artwork or book a custom piece at wapitisagedesign.com. I also blog over at thepinionrange.com, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel where I share the behind the scenes of my life as a Western artist and homesteader.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time from the Paintbrush Prairie.